Liberty, first time here? No?
Been here before.
Right on. Have you ever done the cart tour?
Many a time.
Many a times. All right. So we operate here under 1.5 million square feet. We're under 5 buildings. We have 4 here. Our 5th building's in Camarillo. We have air compressors here. We got 3 of them that operate the whole factory to power all the machines. All of our machines run off of compressed air and also coolant. So the machines that machine our parts, we actually burn off the water and the coolant, and we will recycle the coolant to be reused. Our aluminum casting yard is right here. We go through 175,000 pounds a month in just aluminum castings. Our side mount tool changers, transmissions are made out of aluminum castings. Over 70% of our aluminum comes from right here in the US. Our bar stock is right here. We consume 1 million pounds of bar stock a month. So every day we get a truckload in to meet our demands. They will be loaded onto the Akuma cells down there, and those Akumas will actually cut the stock to whatever dimensions we need. We have our own robotic welding department here. It's down here at the end. We won't be able to see it, but those robots will weld up a lot of our large bases, which we'll see a little bit on in the tour. I'll point them out. We have a diesel generator here that we power up in case we get a rolling blackout. This will help power the factory in case we need to. Now we're going to come into the machining department. These machines will take a blank piece of material, such as that aluminum housing right there. It'll be finished in the machine, and then once we take it out, it'll be moved to a sub-assembly department where we will complete the assembly process. All these robot cells have up to 3 to 4, sometimes 5 machines. If one machine breaks down, we will take it offline, and the other machines will be responsible for finishing all the parts. We are a 24/7 operation facility, so all night these machines will be running. When the guys come in during the morning, they will offload all the finished parts and reload fresh parts. Most of the cells here run one specific part, such as a cast iron part or aluminum part, because they each require different tooling. So this whole cell right here, this Hitachi Seiki cell, only runs cast iron. This one specifically runs our cast iron rotary products. Our cell right here, it's a BMC 1000 cell. It's a 1,000 millimeter pallet, which can hold up to 5,000 pounds. There's actually 4 machines that run this one cell. We make a lot of our larger components on this cell, such as our tables. Some machines have anywhere from 120 to 240 tools. The reason why we have so many tools is in case one tool breaks. There's a tool breakage detection on each machine. It'll take that tool offline, and there's up to 3 backup tools on the machine that'll take place. We're going to come back in to building 2, where the machine shop is. Notice a lot of the gray machines that are Haas machines. This machine right here, our EC400 pallet pool, is currently making coolant filter baskets. That's all that that machine will ever make. Coming up on our right is where we make our wedges for our lathes. These wedges are comprised of 3 to 4 different castings. What we do here is we assemble the wedge as one complete assembly. We will actually load this assembly into the EC630, and that turret will get indexed. When it ever gets indexed on each new tool, we machine that with respect to one data point, which is the surface that the trucks and linear guides get mounted to. And we do that to ensure the accuracy of the complete assembly. If we machined everything separate and assembled it together, we're going to get a pretty big tolerance stack up. So we do this to minimize our tolerances. So our next department we're going to venture into is called our 5-side department. This has a head on the spindle. The spindle's on a rotating head that can move up to 360 degrees. So when we go under this Akuma to our left, we'll actually see a part hopefully being machined. This guy's setting one up to be machined right now, so it can actually machine all 5 sides of the part. The bottom we do not machine. So there's 2 pallets on this one machine, so when one is running, the operator can actually load the other pallet up to be machined. Next, we're going to come up to our largest cell here in terms of size of pallets. We can hold up to 143 pallets in this cell. We have 5 machines that are running 24/7, and each machine has up to 330 tools. Like I said before, these cells only do one specific type of material, so this one only machines class 30 cast iron. If ever you see a red casting on the floor, that means it's a first article part. That's how we track a first article part to make sure it doesn't get mixed up with production. We have over 22 robot cells here that have Haas machines on them. So this robot cell right here is being set up. They're loading the columns into the cell right now, which make our BF1s and 2s. The average machine here is about 7 years old. The oldest machine is 1999 currently. And 70% of the machines here are all Haas machines. We have over 290 machines in the factory. To our right, these are our Haas APL systems, automatic parts loader. So the operator will load slugs onto the table, and once the machine is done, the door will open, it'll put a new part in, and it'll put the finished part on the pallet. We're gonna look at our machine number 100,000. This machine was built back in 2008. And to our right, it has that red plaque on it. In May of 2018, we're projected to produce our 200,000th machine. Haas was founded in 1988. We moved to this building from Chatsworth in 1999. As we leave building 2, we're going to go into building 3. This is where we actually start the manufacturing stage of a Haas machine. You guys can see some finished cast parts on the floor. When we first came into this building, we actually saw some parts being loaded and unloaded. You can see some of the finished parts here. This is a special part right here. We call it a ballum. It's a base and a column designed into one complete casting. So what we do here is we actually machine it on 2 operations. The reason why we do that is so that way the guys don't need to stack the column and the base together. We do that to reduce our tolerance stack up. Our calibrations lab is located under this mezzanine. We calibrate about up to 10,000 tools a year. We used to have an outside company come in and calibrate our tools, but we hired individuals that actually do that for us now here. These guys are starting the first stage of a Haas machine. They're stacking the spindle head onto the column. They're checking the accuracy of the ball screws and linear guides before they get moved on to the next stage. Once it's complete, they will stack the column onto the base and begin the wiring process. These are our largest machines that we sell. We sell machines that are up to 120 inches of travel. On average, it takes these guys about 8 to 10 hours to wire one machine. So now we're going to talk about our 5-axis machines. These 5-axis machines were first sold in 2012. We've sold over 700 machines since then. They have an XYZ plus AB axis, which allow the customers to machine 5 axes simultaneously. It has allowed customers to reduce the number of operations of a part. Maybe instead of doing 3 operations, they can now achieve it with 1 operation. When these machines are not being worked on, they're actually going through the motions right now. They're running a program called 6000, which move all the axes. If a machine breaks down, we can figure out what component failed and we can fix it before it leaves the factory. Each individual here runs off an iPad or Surface Pro. They run off SAP, which actually has their work instructions. So this gentleman right here is looking at his iPad. He's seeing what he needs to complete next. If there's a calibration process, he will enter in the calibration. And each machine is shipped with the calibration printout with it. So a customer can check the accuracy of his machine maybe a year later to see if it's still within specs. Machine right here is an EC400. This is the first prototype that we built. It features a 100-pocket tool changer on its side. This is a 4-axis machine. Currently the largest tool changer we offer is a 50-pocket. That's going to be a 100-pocket. The machine will cycle up to 1 million times to ensure that the tool changes are working properly. This machine started on Tuesday, so it's currently running up to 1 million cycles. When the design team is not putting prototype parts on here, this machine is running like this unattended. We're going to see the end of the large line, VF6 through 12. The VF6 is 50% of our sales from VF6 through 12s. VF7 through 12 make up the other 50% of our sales on the large line. That gentleman right there is performing a test cut inside that machine right there. Each machine gets test cutted and they look at the part that they test cut. They're looking for ripples. We have what's called a Haas ripple that is in each one of the test cuts. That's what we're looking for. If the machine does not have the Haas ripple effect, then we look more into it to see if the ball screws or linear guides are bad. We're gonna move into our video production department where Mark Terryberry films a lot of our YouTube videos. And we're also gonna look at our UMC 1000, which is the first prototype machine. It's a big brother to the UMC 750. We're increasing the X, Y, and Z travels on this machine. So a benefit that we're adding to this machine is you could attach a Kurt vise or any other vise onto the side of that platter. So you can machine a dovetail into your piece of aluminum or steel which you're cutting, so you don't got to take up another machine to just put a dovetail on. This NASCAR is kind of special to Gene. This was a first ever NASCAR to win a race. And after the race, Gene decommissioned this car and it sits up in building 1 in our demo room where you can look at it. Mark Terryberry shoots all of our tip of the day videos here. If you ever want to know how a machine operates, a special feature such as P-Cool, Tool Life, you guys can look up videos, and that's more educational for our customers.
Big fan of the videos.
Yeah.
Like his bounce light ceiling room.
Yep. Yeah, I've watched some of the videos. I learned about a couple of the cool little features that are part of our next generation control. So right there, that's actually a welded base for our gantry mills and routers. That gets welded in our robotic cell. So now we're going to go back out and back into building 3. We're going to look at some of our smaller machines, which are the DT and DMs. Some of those machines are being used by Apple. They currently make some of the prototype bezels on those machines. UMC 750 ahead of us is all packaged. It's all buttoned up, getting ready to be sent over to our shipping department. Our casting receiving department is right here. This is where over 10 trucks a day come in to deliver our castings. We're gonna go back into building 3. This is called our small line. It houses our DT, DM, mini mill and TM line. On average, we produce about 15 TMs and 15 mini mills per week. So these DT and DMs coming up here on our left, these are actually our first prototypes for our second iteration. We came out with these machines in 2009 to 2010. Machines can rapid up to 1,200 inches a minute. These are one of our faster machines in terms of travel. Capable of up to 30,000 RPM. We're going to see one of the smallest machines we sell, which is a compact mill and compact lathe. We'll see some to our left, but then to our right, you may see some in its casting stage. So there's some of our smallest castings right there. The column and the base for a CM machine. Those use a lot for the medical and dental industry. We do test all of our coolant pumps right here in-house. We actually use a Haas machine to test them on. When we first introduced the Haas APL, this is some of the first ones that we made. They're actually making production parts for us. So you can load up a bar into these machines and they can run up to 10 hours unattended. These are popular for job shops that may run up to 1,000 to 15,000 parts at a time. Cell 13 right here makes all of our spindles for our 40 taper. Cell 13 has 2 lathes and 1 mill working side by side with the robot. The robot will load a part into the lathe, which takes about 20 minutes. The runtime on the mill is 10 minutes, so that's why we have a 2-to-1 ratio in there. After they're machined, they send out for heat treat, and then they're ground back in building 1. We machine our own tapers here in-house. We won't be able to look inside the electrical subassembly, but there's over 20 workstations in here. Take about 9 minutes each to assemble. We manufacture up to 1,000 machines a month here. So we go through about 10 to 12,000 electrical panels a year, which are made right here. We're gonna look at some cams up ahead. The cams are what make the tool changer in a Haas machine make its motion. We'll put a blank piece of steel in that gets machined, and that's actually the finished part. So there's gonna be some finished parts up here. This is a blank right here on this table. So this cam right here is actually the profile that the tool changer makes when it makes a tool change. So that allows the tool changer to go down, rotate 180 degrees and come back up. This right here is a 4-sided tombstone. This actually making 24 pocket side mount tool changers. So it'll make 4 tool changers at a time. One guy can probably operate 4 to 5 machines. So any given time, there's 1,000 to 1,200 employees here at one time working in the factory. We are operational 24/7. We do have a small crew that works at night and on the weekends for small production parts that require attention. The reason why we use so many Haas machines is because we have our own technicians here on site that can fix the machine if need be. We can have somebody at the machine in about 10 minutes, figure out what's wrong with it, diagnose the problem, go to building 4, which is our inventory department. They can pull whatever parts they need and they can fix the machine right here on site. We go through about 2 of these green chip bins a day. So twice a day, a company comes in, takes off all of our chips. We recycle everything here. Our casting yard is our largest consumable item here. We go through about 450,000 pounds of cast iron a month. Over 9 million pounds a year are processed here at Haas. If we did not receive a truckload in from now until 30 days, this yard would be pretty much empty. This is enough cast iron to last us for 30 days of operations. %70 of our cast iron is imported. We have 30% domestic casting yards. If you ever see a yellow casting, that's usually a first article or a prototype part. That's how we separate. We use gray cast iron class 30 here due to its properties, its strength to weight ratio, its vibration dampening properties. Building 4 ahead of us, that's strictly inventory. It's over 210,000 square feet. It's covered in solar panels on its top, 35 feet high, and Edison won't let us put solar panels on any other building here. If we did, we wouldn't be dependent from Edison. We'd actually be self-dependent, and they don't want that. They want to get paid.
Jerks.
So 30% of our inventory is all sheet metal. We do have a Haas sheet metal over in Camarillo, which we acquired not too long ago, about 5 years ago. We started making our own sheet metal. Right here in the second row, we have our sub-assemblies for our VF1s and 2s. We make about 20 sub-enclosures a day, which then get wheeled over to building 1. This floor here is actually laser leveled. The reason why it's laser leveled is because some of these guys are up 30 feet in the air and they can move around. If it wasn't laser leveled, they could probably flip and topple over. Row 15 through 30 actually has magnetic strips on its floor. The magnetic strips are what operate the forklifts. The forklifts run on their own. The driver of the forklift picks parts. He tells his iPad, which runs SAP, that he has picked the parts, and then the forklift will move to the next location on its own. There's over 17,000 pallet rack spaces here. We house over 22,000 part numbers. There's over $50 million in inventory here. To our left, that 2-story structure is where we house all of our spare parts. Throughout the world at our HFOs, we house over $75 million of spare parts. Our goal is to have customers up and running within a day or 2. Coming back out to our consignment yard, you guys will see all the different labels on the machines of where they're going. We'll see machines going to Peru, China, Thailand, India. 60 machines a day get packaged and shipped out here in Oxnard. This is our only manufacturing plant. We rely on our HFOs to sell and service our machines. Trucks come in every day, get loaded up, and get shipped out. We thank you guys for visiting our location here in Oxnard. Go back up to building 1 where we have our demo room. You guys can see some of the machines currently running. Take a look at the controls, take a look at all the program that is running on them. Thank you guys for visiting.
Thank you.